movie feels autobiographical, but where do Todd and Judy separate, and how much was taken from other people you know?
I hesitate to say that the movie is autobiographical because it really isn't. But obviously, as they say, writers, write what you know. And I've had a couple of these really fast and furious and intensely deep friendships throughout my 20s that I really wanted to write about and capture on screen in a way that I hadn't seen before. I like to tell people that I'm both Chrissy and Judy, and I think writing this film was an exercise for me to um, figure out, those two polar opposite parts of myself. The Chrissy who did actually move away from New York after a 13-year run there with a budding theatrical career to pursue a romance, and the Chrissy who wanted that sort of heteronormative lifestyle, and then the Judy in me that was also still desperately trying to figure out how to um, stay a queer creative and how to balance those two things.
What was the process of casting Chrissy? Is Wyatt Fenner a colleague, or did you audition him from Hopefuls? And what was the quality that you think makes him Chrissy?
Wyatt is just, first of all, an incredible actor, and we were so lucky to have him come on board. Wyatt and I had done a reading of a play together off Broadway about 4 years ago. That's when we initially met. And I just thought he was a phenomenal actor. I can't say that I was initially thinking of him for the role. We had a couple other people in mind. But as fate has it, I moved to Provincetown during the pandemic, and he was up here with his partner, and he saw me riding my bike down the street and texted me and said, "Are you in Provincetown?" I said, "Yeah, I live here now." And he had never been before, so we met up and we just reconnected in a way. And the wheels started turning, and I was like, he might be really fantastic in this role. And then he came up again a couple months later when I was moving into production. And I was just sitting with some friends. I wanted to hear the script out loud one more time. And I texted him and I said, "I know you're in town. I don't want to bother you on your vacation, but I'm reading this script that I wrote. I'd love for you to come and join us if you can." And he did, and he sat down and read it. And everyone in the room when he left was like, "Well, that's Chrissy. I mean, you don't even have to audition anyone else because that's the guy." And yeah, aside from his incredible work as an actor, he's also very generous with his time and energy. And we were a very small budget, and we had a lot of moves to make. And right from the get, I just knew that Wyatt was the type of person who was not only able to tell the story as an actor, but also creatively someone who was excited to be a part of this process as creating this indie film and just rolling with the punches as you must with a low budget feature.
So, as a writer, director, and lead actor, you were willing to do the heavy kind of villain lifting since Judy is kind of a wreck, but you also gave her sweet redemption. Why was it important to you for the audience to understand her yin yang?
What I love about queer cinema is that it gives us a chance to like peer into our community in a way that we necessarily haven't before. And I think that the genre of queer cinema is expanding so rapidly that um, I wanted to, what I wanted to do with Judy was take someone who we see as a side character in mainstream motion pictures now and on television and say, what happens if we follow this person throughout their entire journey? So you might have someone who's the bitchy queen at your catering, or you might have the terrible roommate who doesn't pay rent on time. And what happens if we follow this person throughout their entire journey and look at their story? And I think, what's important is that like we dive a little below this layer of what we have established, which is like, the bitter bitchy queen, and say like, well, why are they this way? And it really comes from a lot of universality in this heartbreak and in this journey to try to find yourself. And I think it was important for me to give Judy heart and redemption at the end, because I think if I didn't, it would have made the audience leave feeling like, why did I watch this film, you know, and I think ultimately when, as audience members, we sit in the theater, we want to watch someone change, hopefully for the better. And I think that Judy does in this really unique way that's not tied up in a bow. It's more like we're almost watching him find acceptance in order to really go on his journey in life as a fully fledged human who is complicated and maybe not always the best person, but wants to be better.
You went very backstage in drag culture, showing the often difficult gymnastics in creating a character. As an evolving performer yourself, what do you always want to get right in that preparation?
So I had actually never done drag before I started writing the film,
Oh my
and
God.
uh, I I chose drag as Judy's art form because I didn't want to write about a writer. I didn't want to write about an actor, but I loved this idea of following someone who felt their most authentic self under makeup and all this, you know, hair and jewels. And and I think what I what I hoped to express was that like this person was really finding their authentic voice under a mask that they felt confident behind. So I learned how to do drag after writing the first draft, and after a bunch of people said like, yes, this is a movie worth producing, and I knew I wanted to play Judy. So I found a very dear friend of mine as a drag artist, and he became my drag mom and showed me the ropes. And I, you know, have over the years kind of tried as hard as possible to perfect those skills. But there's so much involved
Sure.
in drag that you have to be good at and have to accept what you're not good at.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question
No,
there.
you did. You did.
Okay.
And I also like that you had the young character who looked at Judy as a drag mom.
Hmm.
You know, that was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
nice.
absolutely.
Now, you know, they're talking about Bros being so historic because it's the first mainstream, but heck, you know, you had what was on Netflix this summer, the Fire Island movie,
Fire Island, yep.
and I've been involved with reeling for years, and there's been hundreds of those types of films.
Oh yeah, there's
You
so much
know,
great queer cinema out there.
yeah,
If you love the genre, if you're looking for it, or if you've never explored the genre before, there's
right,
so much incredible storytelling out there.
right. This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2022.